This conference will now be recorded.
Let me go and open one notepad. Go and open one notepad. Now in today's session, we'll go and discuss about what are the different types of licenses will be there in Power Apps. And also we'll discuss another concept called environments, guys. So first we'll discuss different types of Power Apps licenses. Let me go and keep here Power Apps licenses. Try to understand, guys. Now what are the different types of Power Apps licenses we'll have here is there are three types of licenses there. The first one is per app plan. The first one is per app plan, and the second one is per user plan, and third one is pay as you go. Pay as you go. These are the three different types of licenses we have. Let me go and keep here types of licenses. We have the three types of licenses. First one is per app license. Second one is per user license. Third one is pay as you go. Now let me go and discuss one by one here, guys. First, let me go and discuss about the per app plan. Let me go and discuss about what per app plan. Now see, the first point we need to understand what is the cost of this per app plan is. So its cost is $5, guys. What's the cost of this per app plan is? Its cost is $5. $5 per user per app per month. So this per app plan, what's the cost of this plan is $5 per user per app for 1 month. For 1 month, um, for one user and for one app, what's the cost of this plan is $5. So, and next point we need to understand here is how many apps the users can create with the help of this per app plan is the user can create only one app and one power pages, one portal apps. Portals means power pages, guys. That is websites. So in this plan, one user, how many apps they can create means the user can create only one app and one portal, that is power pages. If you want to go and create one app and one website for one user per month, then we can go and use this per app plan. And next point we need to understand, so it can support the standard connectors and also the premium connectors. What is meant by connectors? I will explain you by the end of this session. So try to understand here. It can support the premium connectors. It can connect to the premium connectors. There are two types of connectors. One is standard connector, second is premium connectors. So it can connect to the premium connectors. And next point, it has the data verse capacity. So what's the data verse capacity it will have here is the data verse database capacity, what it is 50 MB. What is the database capacity you will get with this per app plan is you'll get the data verse database capacity as 50 MB. And next, the next point we need to understand, what is the file size it will go and give for you. The file size is around 250 MB it will give. The database or the dataverse file capacity. What's the file capacity you can get here is, it is 250 MB. So this is what is this per app plan. Try to understand, guys. Per app, in the name it is telling, for one app, what is the cost it will charge? $5. Let's say there is one user. If that user wants to create one app, then what's the amount the company need to pay to the Microsoft? $5 per one app. Suppose this user wants to create the two apps, then how many dollars they need to pay? $10 they need to pay. So this per app plan, for one user, for 1 month, for one app, how much amount they need to pay to the Microsoft? $5 they need to pay. And how many apps you can create with this per app plan means, in the name it is selling per app, only one app. So the user can create only one app and one portals. Portal means what? Websites, Power Pages. With the help of Power Pages, you are able to create one website. And next up, this per app plan will allow us to connect to the premium connectors. It will allow us to connect what? The premium connectors. And the dataverse capacity is what? By default, you will get the 50 MB dataverse capacity. And file capacity, you will get what? 250 MB is the file capacity. This is what the per app plan. And next one is, let me go and keep here. What's the cost it is? It is $5. And next, the next plan is what? Per user plan. So in this per user plan, this per user plan also will call it as premium, guys. Premium license. This per user also will call it as what? Premium license. So what is the another name for this per user is? This per user plan also will call it as premium license. So this per user plan will call it as premium license. Next, next point we need to understand, what is the cost of this plan. So its cost is $20. What's the cost of this plan? $20 per user. Per user. Here you can go and create the multiple apps, not only one app. You can create the multiple app per user for multiple apps and for 1 month. For 1 month, what is the amount you need to pay to the Microsoft is $20 per user. And next point here is, the user can create how many apps here is in this premium. The user can create multiple apps, not one or two apps, multiple apps, guys, unlimited. The user can create the multiple apps and portals. Portals means what? Power Pages. You can go and create the multiple websites also. So if you go with the per user plan also called as premium license. So it is cost is $20 per user per month. So how many apps and websites they can create means unlimited, multiple apps and multiple Power Pages they can create. And next, it can connect to the premium connectors. It will allow us to connect to the premium connectors. Here also you can go and connect to the premium connectors. And what is the database or dataverse capacity? Dataverse database capacity you'll get here is, I think it is 250 MB is the database capacity you'll get. And next, what is the file capacity you'll get here is, dataverse file capacity you'll get around, I think 500 MB. 500 MB is the file capacity you'll get. Let me check what's the file capacity. This is 2 GB. 2 GB is the file capacity. It is 400 MB. So let me go and keep here. It is 400 MB file capacity, and here it is 2 GB file capacity you will get. So this is what the premium connector is. So in this premium connector, you can go and create the multiple apps and multiple power pages. It can connect to the premium connectors. What is meant is premium connectors, you'll understand. And what is the dataverse capacity you'll get? The dataverse capacity it is 250 MB. And what is the dataverse file capacity you'll get? 2 GB is the dataverse file cap. This is the default capacity from the dataverse you'll get with this license. If you want to increase this capacity of the dataverse, you can go and increase. This is the second one. Most of the cases in the real-time scenarios, will go and use this premium license only. Yes, per user plan will go and use. Most of the business organizers will go and use this license only, premium license, or we'll call it as per user license. And next one is what? Pay as you go. Now, what is this pay as you go? Pay as you go means how many users is active and how many apps you are creating. Based on that only the Microsoft will charge the amount. You no need to pay in front of amount. Let me go and keep here. First of all, what is the cost of this is? The cost of this one is $10 per user per app. Per app. So in this, what is the cost you need to pay? $10 per user per app per 1 month. For 1 month, $10 is for one user for only one app. So let me go and keep here. The user can create how many apps here is? The user can create only one app, guys. The users can create only one app. And here in this per app plan, by default, you are not able to go and get the portals. You need to have the separate licenses. And next, what is the database capacity you'll get here is? The database capacity is 1 GB. Here you'll get what is the database capacity? You'll get 1 GB as the database capacity. So these are the different types of licenses we'll have. So the first one is what? Per app plan. What's the cost of this? $5. $5 per user per app per 1 month. And how many apps you can create here? Only one app with this $5. How many websites you can create here? Only one website. And next, coming to the per user plan, it is a premium license. Most of the companies will go and take this second one. So what's the cost of this is? $20 per user. And how many apps you can create? Multiple apps and multiple portals for 1 month. And it can connect to the premium connectors. Dataverse capacity is 250 MB and file size is 2 GB. And next one is pay as you go. Pay as you go means how many users are active, how many apps you are creating. Based on that only you need to pay to the amount to the Microsoft. So pay as you go means how many apps you are creating, how many active users is there. Based on that, you need to go and create, you need to go and pay the amount to the Microsoft. Here in this, per user for 1 month per app, what's the amount you need to pay? $10 is the cost. So these are the three different types of licenses we'll have in the Power Apps case. So most of the cases we'll go and use what? Most of the cases the companies will go and use the second one, premium license, that is per user license. Why? Because here there is unlimited apps they can create. One user can create n number of apps, and the one user can create how many portals? N number of power portals. That means websites. So that's why most of the cases the business organizers or the companies will go and take what? The second one as premium license. These are the different types of licenses we are having. And next, the next topic we'll go and discuss now in today's session is one of the most important topic, environment. One of the most important topic, that is what? Environments, guys. Try to understand. Let me go and keep here. What we'll discuss here is what is meant by environments. Whenever if you go and open the Power Apps, let me go and show you. Let me go and open the Power Apps, guys. Whenever if you try to go and open the Power Apps, in the Power Apps, you are able to see something called here called environments, guys. On the top right side, you are able to see an option here called environment. So what is this environment? I'll discuss now. So let me go and keep here. Let me go and keep here. What is meant by environments? What is meant by an environment? Try to understand, guys. What is an environment here is? whenever if you are going to start any whenever if you start any power apps project or a power platform project, whenever if you go and start any project, you need to go and create an environment for that project, guys. Let me go and keep here what is an environment means. whenever whenever we start any power apps or power platform, guys, any power apps or power platform project, any power apps project, any power apps project, we will create an environment. First point, you need to understand what when to go and create this environments means. Whenever we start any power apps project or a power platform project, we need to go and create an environment. Before going to start the project, before going to start the power apps projects, you need to go and create what for that project. We need to go and create a separate environment for that project. The next point will understand what the environment will contains. Okay, I'm telling that for whenever if you are going to start any power apps project, you need to go and create an environment. Next point, we'll try to understand what is an environment, so or what the environment contains. Let me go and keep here environment. What the environment contains means, environment is the place, environment is the place where we will create the multiple apps. Environment is the place where we'll create the multiple apps, comma, power automate flows, comma, chartboards, where we'll create the multiple chartboards, and also where we will create some power pages, that is nothing but websites, guys, where we'll create some power pages. This one, not only this, whatever the data sources you are going to use, and whatever the components you are going to create for while creating the apps. We discussed about something called components, right, in the previous class. So where we'll go and create the apps, app components, flows, chartboards, power pages, all these things means you need to go and create everything, all these things within the environment. Where we need to go and create apps, components, flows, chartboards, power pages, everything means everything we need to go and create within the environments only. This is what the environment contains. Environment is the place where we will create the multiple apps, app components. App components is nothing but whatever the things you are going to use to create the app, all those are called as app components. Power automate flows, power virtual agent, chartboards, and power pages, that is websites. Everything you need to go and create under what? Under the environments only. And the next point we need to understand, the next point we need to understand what is the use of creating the apps, app components, flows within the environments. Why we need to go and create within the environments means it is easy to, if you create the apps and app components, flows within the environment, it is easy to manage and share the apps to the users. So why we need to go and create everything within the environment means it is easy for us to manage the apps, and also it is easy to for us to share the apps to the users. And next point, why we need to go and create everything within the environments means it is easy for, it is easy to deploy, to deploy the apps, to deploy the apps from one environment to another environment. It is easy to deploy the apps from one environment to another environment. Now what is this deploy, guys? Deployment is not, deploy is nothing but deployment, moving the apps from one environment to another environment. If you are working under any one of the project, so you need to go and create some environments here, guys. What are the environments here is, for development purpose you need to go and create a separate environment, that is dev environment. For testing you need to go and create a separate environment, and for the production you need to go and create a separate environment. If you see, if you go to any project, guys, if you go to the any project, so development, for development there is one environment will be there. testing environment, another environment, and there is finally production environment. Now, whatever you are creating the apps, app components, flows, chartboards, where you will go and create means we will create them within the dev environment. Once after creating the apps in the dev environment, we need to move those apps to what? Testing environment. And once the testing is completed, if everything is fine, then we will move that from testing environment to where? Production environment. This is the application life cycle, guys. Application management life cycle. So in the real time scenarios, whenever if you go and start any project, first of all you need to go and create one environment. With the environment, you need to go and create the apps. So what is the need of creating the apps within the environments? It is easy for us to manage and share the apps to the users. And second advantage is it is easy to deploy the apps from one environment to another environment. First, I want to go and create the apps in the development environment, and then I want to move them to the tester environment. If testing is completed, then I want to move to which environment? Production environment. So, if you want to perform the deployment pipeline, this one we will call it as deployment pipelining. I will discuss in the next coming 1 or 2 classes. I'll go and discuss about what is meant this deployment pipelining is, how to go and perform the deployment, how to move the apps from dev to test, and from test to production. I'll discuss. For now, try to understand whenever if you want to go and perform the deployment pipeline, that means moving the apps from one environment to another environment. Everything you need to go and create under where? You need everything, apps, components, flows, chartboards, power pages, everything you need to go and create under what? Under the environments only. If you are not creating under with everything within the environments, what happens? You are not able to perform the deployment pipelining. To perform the deployment pipelining, we need to go and create the apps and the app components within the environments. So this is what is meant by the environments case. And next point, whenever if you go and create an environment, by default for each environment it will go and add one dataverse database case. Let me go and keep here. Each environment will have each environment will have one database, one dataverse database. Whenever if you go and create an environment, for that environment by default you will have what? One dataverse database capacity. So this is what is meant by environments. Keep in mind important topic. When to go and create the environments? Whenever if you are starting any power apps project, you need to go and create what? Environments. What is the need of creating the environments, or what the environments contains? The second point, what the environment contains means environment contains the multiple apps, components, flows, chartboards, power pages. Now why we need to go and create everything within the environments means for it is easy to manage and share the apps to the users. And second one is it is easy to deploy from one environment to another environment, that is moving the apps from development to test and test to production. And finally, if you create an environment, for that environment by default you will get what? One database. So this is what is meant by environments. And next point we need to understand, we have the different types of environments, guys. Types of environments. Now what are the different types of environments we'll have? Here is the first one is trial environment. The first one is what? Trial environment. The second one is developer environment. Developer environment. Developer. And third one is production environment. Second one is production environment. And fourth one is sandbox environment. And the fifth one is default environment, guys. These are the different types of environments are available. Totally how many types of environments is there? 5 types. First one is trial, developer, production environment, sandbox environment, and default environment. Now let me go and discuss one by one here, guys. First, let me go and discuss about what is this trial environment. Now try to understand what is this trial environment means. Let me go and copy something from here. Let me explain you. Just copy and then paste it here, guys. Now try to understand what is this trial environment means. This environment is used for short-term testing purpose. So the name it is telling trial environment. So whenever if you want to use the environment for short-term testing purpose, then in this case you can go and create what type of environment? Trial environment. And how long this trial environment will be accessible for you is, this trial environment will be accessible for only 30 days. Once after the 30 days, see, this environment will automatically cleaned after the trial period. What is the trial period? 30 days is the trial period. Once after 30 days, this environment automatically cleaned. When? After the trial period. After the trial period, automatically whatever the development you did in the trial, it is going to be removed, permanently deleted. And next, how many trial environments you can go and create? Only one trial environment for one user, guys. One user can go and create how many trial environments? One user can go and create only one trial environment. So this is what is meant by trial, guys. First point, it is for short term testing purpose. And second point, how long this trial environment will exist? 30 days. After 30 days, whatever the development you did, it is auto delete. And next, how many trial environments you can create for one user? One user can create only one trial environment. And next one is developer, guys. Now what is this developer environment? Let me go and copy something here. Now try to understand what is this developer environment. Now see, when to go and create the developer environment means, this environment is created by the users, which is used for development purpose. Who will create this environment? Users. When they will create this development environment? In the development purpose. Whenever if you want to go and start any project, I said that whenever if you want to start any project, you need to go and create what? Environment. Now what type of environment you want to create? Whenever if you are starting any project, you need to go and create what environment? Developer environment. So this developer environment is created by the users, which is used for development purpose. Whenever if you want to develop any apps, flows, chatbots, where we will go and create all those means within the developer environment only. Next, and next, what is another environment? Production environment. Now what is this production environment is? Try to understand, guys. What this production environment is? This environment is used to deploy the final apps. What is the use of this environment, production environment? This environment is used for what? It is used to deploy the final apps. That means, first of all, if you want to create the app, in which environment you can go and create the apps? I said that in which environment you can develop the apps? In the developer environment. You can start developing the apps in the developer environment. Once after developing the apps, where we will move that final apps means, we'll move that final apps to the production environment. So this environment is used for deploy the final apps. This environment, this production environment, not for development and testing, guys. Once if you move the apps from development environment to production environment, then in the production environment, you are not able to go and perform what? You are not able to perform the development, and also you are not able to perform the testing. So development environment is only to develop. If you want to develop and if you want to test, you can test it in the developer environment, and you can develop in the developer environment. Once the testing is completed, and also once the development is done, finally you can move those apps to which environment? Production environment. This is the place where we can deploy what? Final apps. And also in the production environment, it is possible to go and develop and test the apps means, no, not for development and not for testing. Live, it is go live. When we will go with the live, once if everything is ready, if you are creating an app, if your testing is completed, then we will go and start using the apps. So once after moving the apps to the production environment, then we'll go and start using the apps here. So this is what is meant by production environment, guys. And next one is what? Sandbox environment. Now what is this sandbox environment means? This sandbox environment is also called as non-production environment, guys. So this is the production environment. In the production environment, not able to develop and test. What is this sandbox? Sandbox is also called as non-production environment. So what we can do with this sandbox means, in this environment, we can test the apps and update the apps here, guys, and configure the apps without affecting the main application. So try to understand what is the use of this sandbox means. Once the development is completed in the development environment, next we move to that next we need to move the apps to which environment? Testing environment. So once after the development is completed, we need to test the apps. To test the apps, where we need to move that? We need to move the apps to sandbox environment. In the sandbox environment, what we can do, we can test the apps, and if the apps is having any errors is there, you can update that apps. That means you can do modifications here. Once you can test the apps, update and configure the apps without affecting the main app, where the main app is there, in the development environment. So once after moving the app from development to test environment, that is in the sandbox, you can test, you can update, and also you can configure the apps without affecting what, the main apps. Where the main apps will be there, in the development environment. So once the testing is also completed, then we'll move to where, production environment. So this is what the sandbox is also called as non-production environment. This is the environment where we can test the apps, we can update, and we can configure all the apps without affecting the main application. Where the main application will be there, in the development environment. And next one is what, default environment. Now what is this default environment, guys? So whenever if you go and whenever if you create a Power Apps license, see here guys, I'm having the Power Apps license. This is the license I'm having. Whenever if you have any Power Apps license, by default, it will go and create one environment. That is what environment? Default. So this is the default environment, which is automatically created by what? By the Power Apps. By default, if you create a license, Power Apps license, by default, automatically Power Apps itself will create one environment. What is that environment? Default environment. So this is what is meant by default environment, guys. If you see, when I go to the Power Apps, now on the top you are able to see environment. Now what is the environment it is taking now? So currently it is what environment? Default environment. What is the name it is keeping? Analytics benchmark. And what is the environment type? Default. Is the environment, guys. So whenever if you go and have a Power Apps license, if you go and take any Power Apps license, by default the Power Apps itself will automatically create one environment. What environment it is? Default environment. So these are the different types of environments we'll have, guys. First one is trial, developer, production, sandbox, and default. So this is the default environment. By default the Power Apps will create. Next one is developer. When to go and create this developer environment? Whenever if you want to develop anything, where we need to develop, within the developer environment. Once the development is completed, you need to test it. Where we'll test this? In the sandbox. Once the testing is completed, finally we move that apps to which environment? Production environment. And this trial is, if you want to test anything for short term, you can go and use this trial environment, which will be accessible for 30 days for free. So these are the different types of environments will be there. And let me show you how to go and create an environment now, guys. So I said that what is the default environment? So by default, whenever if you have the Power Apps license, it will go and create one default environment. Now I want to create an environment, guys. I want to start one Power Apps project now. Before going to start the Power Apps project, I said that you need to go and create what? An environment. So by default, what is the environment will take? Default environment. Let me show you. This is the default environment, guys. On the top, you are able to see here to which environment you are connected. So what is the environment I'm connecting here? Default environment. Now let me show you how to go and create an environment, guys. To create an environment, here you are able to see an option called settings. Go and click on this settings, guys, or a gear icon. Now click on it. Now let me go and click on the admin center. Go to the admin center. Now in the admin center, you are able to go and create the environments, guys. Now see, it is the home tab. Now this is the Power Platform admin center. Now in the second tab, you are able to see what? Environment. Go to the environments. Now see, by default there is one environment. What's that environment? Analytics benchmark. What's the type of this environment? Default. I want to create a, it is not recommended to go and use the default environment, guys. Keep in mind, it is not recommended to go and use the default environment in the real-time scenarios. Why? Because if you go and develop everything in the default environment, then we are not able to perform the deployment. We are not able to move the apps from dev to test to production. So I recommend, don't go with the default environments. Try to create a separate environment for your project. How to go and create the environments means, go to the Power Platform admin center, go to the environments, and then go and click on what? New. When I click on this new, it will allow us to create an environment. Now see, it is asking us to pass the environment name, new environment. Let me pass the environment name as dev. Next, it is asking us to select the region. Let me select the region as India and select type. What's the type you want to select? You are creating an environment. This is the environment name. What type of environment you want to create? I want to go and create the developer environment. Guys, I said that trial environment, developer environment, production, and sandbox. There is another one more trial is there. This also has something called trial environment. Let me go and create the environment. Is what type of environment? Developer. Here you can create only developers case, not able to create the production environment, not able to create the sandbox. Why? Because here whatever the license I'm using, this is not the paid licenses, it's the free license. So you are not allowed to go and create the production and sandbox. So let me go and create what type of environment here? Developer. So this is the environment name and this is the type. And next, if you want to pass any description for this environment, what is the reason you are creating this environment, keep here. Otherwise, no need to keep. Now just scroll down and click on what? Next button. When I click on the next button, now it is asking us to select the language. What's the language? English, United States. Next, currency. So for billing purpose, what's the currency? Let's take it as in India. Next, you want this environment, you want for the deployment pipeline? Yes, go and click on enable this. If you are creating this environment for the deployment, go and click on yes button. Otherwise, no. I will show you what is meant by deployment in the next class, guys. For now, try to understand the creating environment. Go and click on what? Save. When I click on save, now it is going to create one environment. What's that environment name? Dev. And what's the type I selected? Developer environment. Now see, this is the environment just now I created. The environment name is dev. And what type of environment I created? Developer. And what is the status? It is preparing. It is creating one environment now. Let it create. Here it need to be ready, guys. Here we need to get the status as ready. Then only we are able to go and use this environment. See here also it is stating at what's the environment? Environment is the place to store, manage, and share your organizational business data, apps, boards, flows. So this is the place where you can go and store, manage, share the apps, chatbots, flows, power pages, everything. So just go and refresh it once. Now see, the status is ready. Now this environment is ready. Now let me go and use it, guys. Now once the environment is ready, now go to the Power Apps. Now just refresh the Power Apps again here. Go and refresh the Power Apps. Then you are able to see that new environment here, guys. Now see, by default, what's the environment I'm connecting? Default. So by default, if you see what's the environment I'm connecting, it is default. I want to connect to the dev environment. Now when I go to this, click on this environment, you are able to see another environment here. What? Dev. So when I go and click on this dev, now see what is the environment name it is keeping here now. It is keeping the environment name as dev. Now in this environment, you can start going and creating the apps. Now I don't have any apps here. Same how we discussed creating the apps in the previous classes. Same here also. Just we are changing the environments here. Like this, you are able to go and create what? Environments. Once after creating the environments, you can go and connect to that environment and start creating the apps. So this is what is meant by an environment. Guys. What is meant by an environment? What are the different types of environments will be there? What is this trial, developer, production, sandbox, and default environments? Next something we need to understand. So there is some extension for this environments, guys. Recently, the the Microsoft implemented something called. So under this environments also, there is something called managed and unmanaged environments. Let me go and keep here. There is something called managed and unmanaged environments. Let me go and keep here. What is unmanaged environment? What is an unmanaged environment? And managed environment. Try to understand it. It's important. This is the recently they implemented just 4 to 5 months back. So in the interviews, you'll get the questions. What is an environment? What's the need of creating? What are the different types of environments? And what is meant by managed and what is meant by unmanaged environments? Try to understand. First of all, let me go and keep here what is an unmanaged environment, and second one is what is a managed environment. First, let me go and discuss what is meant by what is meant by this unmanaged environments, guys. First, let me go and discuss about what is this unmanaged environment. Try to understand what is this unmanaged environment means. Whenever if you go and create an environment, I said that just now we discussed about creating an environment. What's that environment we created? Dev. Whenever if you create an environment by default, what is the environment is? It is an unmanaged environment, guys. Let me go and keep some points here. So let me copy it, paste it here. Now try to understand what is meant by unmanaged environments. By default, by default, when we create an environment, now it is what type of environment means? It is an unmanaged environment. If you see here, I created one environment here, right? What is the name of that environment? Dev. What's the type of this environment? Developer. What's the status? Ready. Dataverse. I said that whenever if you create a environment by default, you'll get what? Dataverse databases. And see, there is something called managed. Now this environment is managed environment? No, it is not a managed environment. It is what? An unmanaged environment. By default, whenever if you create an environment, it is what type of environment means? It is an unmanaged environment. And next point, if you create an app in the unmanaged environment, then if that app is shared, or if that app is connected, to the standard data sources. What is meant by that standard data sources and premium data sources? You will understand this. I will explain you in this class itself. I will explain you. Just for now, try to understand. If we create an app in the unmanaged environment, if that app is connected to data source, what data source? Standard data sources. Let us take SharePoint. SharePoint is a standard data source, guys. SharePoint is one data source. It is a standard data source. So if that app is connected to standard data sources, then if we share that app to the users, if you share the app to the any user, then the user no need to have any per app or premium licenses to view that app. Try to understand. If you create an app in the unmanaged environment, then if that app is connected to the standard data source, if you share that app to any user, that user no need to have any license, guys. No need to have a premium license or no need to have the per app license. To view that app, the user no need to have any license. Why? Because this app is created under which environment? Unmanaged. And also, what is the data source it is using? Standard data sources. If you create an app in the unmanaged, and also if that app is connected to the standard data sources, then if you share that app to any user, that user no need to have any license. Freely he can go and view that app. This is what is meant by a managed environment. And next one is what? Unmanaged environment. Now what is this unmanaged environment? Try to understand what is this managed environments means. The will allows managed environments will allows the admins to manage will allows the admins to manage the Power Platform components very easily. So what is the need of this managed environments means? This managed environments will allow the admins to manage the Power Platform components very easily. That means sharing the apps to the users, or security, regarding security wise. If that environment is a managed environment, if you create the apps in this managed environment, it is highly secured, and also it is easy for the admins to manage the apps in this when in the managed environments. And also, next point, if the environment is managed, if the environment is managed environment, then you share the apps from the managed environment to any user, any user then the user need to have the user need to have the premium license to view that app, guys. This point is important here. In the unmanaged, I said that if you create an app in the unmanaged environment, if that app is connected to the standard data sources, if you share that app to the user need to have any license? No need to have. But in the managed environment, if you create an app in the managed environment, if you share that app to any user, that user need to have which license? Premium license. If he is having the per app plan, it is not possible to view. So in this managed environment, the only disadvantage is mandatory you need to have the premium license case. That is per app per user license. So per app plan licenses does not work here. But what is the advantage of this managed environments means you can keep the data and keep the apps and flows very securely, and you can manage the apps within the managed environments very easily. For admins, it is easy for them to manage. It is highly secured. Only disadvantage here is if you create an app in the managed environments, if you share that app to the users, that user also need to have what license? That user must and should have what? A premium license. So this is what is meant by managed and unmanaged. Only 2 points. Whenever if you create an environment, what type of environment is managed? If you create an app in the managed environment, if that app is connected to standard data sources, if you share that app to the users, that user need to have any license? No. Then let's say if you are converting this managed and unmanaged to managed, then in the managed environment, it is easy for the admins to manage the apps. And second point, if you create any app in the managed environment, if you share that app to the users, that user also need to have which license? Premium license. And now I said that whenever if you create an app, what type of environment it is means. Whenever you create an environment, what type of it is? Unmanaged. Now how to convert the unmanaged environment to managed, guys? Let me show you how to convert the unmanaged environments to a managed environments. Let me go to the Power Apps. Let me go to the Power Platform admin center. Now see, this is the environment we created. This environment is what? It is managed or unmanaged? It is unmanaged. By default, whenever if you create an environment, what type of it is? It is unmanaged. I want to make it as managed, guys. How to make it as managed? Go to the environment, click on this three dots, that is more actions, and you are able to see an option here called what? Enable to managed environments. I want to convert this unmanaged to managed. Now just go and click on it. When I click on it, now see, it is telling us what? Enable managed environments. Now in the first point, what is telling? Increase visibility and control. So you can control the access very easily, and also it can increase the visibility to the users more. And next, license details. I said that if you go and convert the managed unmanaged to managed, I said that the user need to have which license? Premium. The same they are telling here also. If you see, all the users in the managed environment must and should have the Power Apps, Power Automate, or Office 365 license with what? Premium usages. So whenever if you are having the managed environment, in that managed environment, whatever the users is there, that users need to have which license? Premium license. Clearly it is telling that. And next point, guys, auto claim. It is somewhat advanced. So if this license auto claim policy does not ready to exit, that means not auto claim means before going to close the license, let's say 1 month license is there, before going to close next month, it will auto renew. This is nothing but auto claim. Next, limit sharing. Now what is this limit sharing means? So it will helps reduce the risk by limiting how widely the canvas apps need to be shared. Now what is this limit sharing means? By default, it doesn't set any limit, case. Now when I go and set any limit here, let's say I'm setting the limit to 20, 30 members, 30 users, or 100 users, whatever it is. Let's say I'm limiting to 20 users, case. So I'm setting the limit here. What is the limit? 20 users. That means whatever the apps I'm going to create in this environment, I can share this environment details to how many users? Only 20 users. Other than 20, no, it is not possible to share. So if you go and set the limit means, then we can reduce the risk of limit sharing. So unfortunately, if you are sharing the environment details to more number of users, then it is automatically it is risk probability will be there. So if I want to reduce the risk, then go and limit the number of users. So let me remove it for now. Let me go with the default. And next there is something called solution checker here, guys. Now what is this solution checker? Now see, this solution checker will automatically verify the solution checker result. So for now you are not able to understand what is this solution, what is this solution checker. I will discuss the solutions in the tomorrow's class. For now, just try to understand what is the use of this solution checker is. So if I go and keep the solution checker to none, try to understand, guys. When I keep here none, then what it will do? Turn off the solution checker verification during the solution import. You can continue manually review the result and solutions export. That means I said that what is the need of creating the environments to move the apps from dev to test and test to production. Now, while I am moving the app from development to test, if there is any errors in the app, then or if there is any errors in this environment, then I don't want to stop moving this. I don't want to stop deployment. I want to move the apps from dev to test. So when I keep here none, it doesn't stop deploymenting from dev to test. So it doesn't stop you. But when I go and keep on warning, when I go and set here warning, then what it will do? Check and security and reliability issues in the solution checker, but do not block the solution to import. That means when I go and select the warning here, when I move the apps from dev to test, while I am moving the apps from dev to test, if there is any errors in the app or in this development environment, then it doesn't stop here also, but it will note down that what is the errors is there in that environment. This is what it's telling. So check for security and reliability issues when you are moving the apps from dev to test, but it doesn't stop moving the apps from dev to test. It will move the apps from dev to test, but it will make a note of the errors. What are the different errors will be there? It will make a note of them, and it will send an email to the owner of that environment. And next, when I go and click keep here block, when I go and select block, what happens now? Check the security reliability issues in the solution checker and also blocks the solution. So while moving the apps from dev to test, while moving the apps from dev to test, then when I'm moving, if there is any errors in the dev environment, if there is any errors in the dev environment, then what it will do? It doesn't move to the testing environment, guys. It will stop it. You are not able to perform the deployment when if there is any errors in the development environment. So this is what is meant by solution checker. So you can select either none, warning, or block, guys. Let me go with the none or warning for now. So this is what is meant by solution checker: none, warning, and block. Next one is what? There is something called usage insights. Usage insights means how many users are active in this environment, how many users are using the app, how many times the user is logging in, how many times the users are viewing the app, which user is spending more time in the app. If you want to see the insights, that means it will go and generate some report, weekly report, and that report will be sent to whom? Admins. So if you want to add any users here, you can go and add the users here. Weekly email digest. So this is just for usage insights. And next one is there is something called maker welcome content. This is in the preview still, but what is this maker welcome content? Now see here, guys, whenever if you go and open any mobile apps also, let's say you install the WhatsApp for the first time in your mobile. You don't know how to use the WhatsApp. First you are installing and you are open the WhatsApp. Then what the WhatsApp will do? It will give some pop-up. You observe, whenever if you try to open any app it is, so it will give some navigations. Step one, try to go and create add the contacts in the WhatsApp. What is the message it will give? They will give one pop-up window. In that pop-up window, step one, you can see the all the users, all the members in the WhatsApp in the contacts. If you want to send the message, go and click on it. Status will be in the updates. If you want to chat with them, go to the chat. Like this, what this app will do means it will guide the users how to go and use that app. Same here also, welcome, maker welcome content. That means whenever the new user is opening the app, I need to guide that user how to go and use that app. So if you want to keep here the welcome maker content, then you can go and keep here, guys. Let's say Let me go here. uh, Let me go and open Outlook. Already we used OneDrive, we used Excel, we used Notepad. Let me go and open OneNote. I think here it will display some dialog box. I think here it is not showing. Let me go and open the Power Automate. Let me go to switch to the dev environment. By default it will show, guys, but maybe here we are not able to see. If you observe, whenever if you go and open any apps, it will display some pop-ups here. So this is the home tab. Next pop-up, step 2 is the create tab, the place where you can go and create the apps. And step 3, templates, where you can see some predefined templates. Step 4, you can see the my flows is the step 4, where you can see the app flows you created. So like this, it will go and shows navigate the users towards the app, how to go and use that app. Just it is going to give some indication. So like this, if you want to go and keep the maker content, you can go and keep here. And next, finally, data policies. So this data policies is a huge concept. You don't need to have the knowledge. Admins need to have the knowledge on this data policies. So just ignore it, guys. Admin need to have the knowledge on the data policies. You don't need to have as a developer. Now once after this, now I want to go and enable it. So go and click on what? Enable. When I click on enable, I'm going to convert this unmanaged environment to what now? It is managed or not? Yes, it is managed. Like this, if you want to convert the environment from unmanaged to unmanaged to managed environment, how to go and convert? Go to these three ellipses, go and click on what? Enable managed environments. So this, like this, you are able to convert the managed environments to unmanaged to managed environments. So this is what is the differences between unmanaged and managed environments. And next one is how to add the users to the environment. So there are two ways to go and add the users. I said that you can share the app, you can share the environment details to the users, right? Now how to add the users to the environment? So I created one environment here. What's that environment? Dev. Now I want to add the users to this environment. Now how to go and add the users, guys? So to add the users, first go and create one environment. Go to the settings of this environment. Go to the settings. When I go to the settings, here you are able to see the users, guys. You are able to see an option called users plus permissions. Go and click on it. Now here you are able to see something called users. Go to the users. Now here you are able to see the users. By default, I'm the user, Pinky. I'm the admin. So I want to add the users. If you want to add the users, go and click on what? Add users. When I click on the add users, now see here you can enter the name. Let's say I'm going to enter the name as what? Sunil. So I want to add the user as Sunil. Click on select the username and click on add. When I click on add, now automatically that user is going to add it to this environment, guys. Now it is asking us to pass the role. So there are two types of roles is there whenever if you are adding the users to the environment, particularly in the Power Apps environment. So there is something called maker role, environment maker. So there is an option called what? Environment maker role you can give, or you can give the another role as system administrator, that is admin. So there are two types of roles is there. So what are the two types of roles? One is admin, that is full control. Second is maker. Maker means what? Create, share. He is not able to delete, no admin activities. He is not able to add the admins. He is not able to delete. He can create and he can share. Admin means full control. So you can go and select either full selector as system administrator, or you can go and give the role as what? Environment maker. Let me select the role as environment maker and click on save. Now that I'm going to add one user now. Now see, it is telling that Sunil Kumar has been added to this environment, but the security role is required in order to access the data plan. So just go and click on refresh. Now see, Sunil Kumar has added to this environment. Like this, from here you can go and add the users to the environment. So this is what, how to go and add the users to the environment. And next there is something called recovery case. Once if you delete the environment, once if you go and remove the environment, now how to recover that environment? Let's say I'm going to delete this environment case. Whatever the environment I created, let me go to the environments. I created one environment, right? Dev. Let me remove this environment. Go to this and click on what? Delete. When I click on delete, let me pass the environment name. Now go and click on confirm. Now I'm going to remove that environment. Now see, it is running. It is removing that environment. Once if you remove the environment, you can recover that environment after delete also within how many days? We can recover the environment in 6 days. So let's say unfortunately you deleted today, you want to go and use that environment, then you can recover that environment within 7 days. After 7 days, it is not possible to recover. Let me show you. Once it is deleted, I will show you how to recover also. So still it is not deleted, it is running. Just wait. The status need to be done and we are not able to see the environment here. It's taking some time. Once the environment is deleted, how to recover that environment again? That means how to bring that environment again to the Power Apps. First of all, let it delete. It's taking some time. Just click on refresh. Fine. Now see, I'm not able to see that environment. Now the dev environment is deleted. Now I want to recover that environment. Within how many days you are able to recover the environment? Within 7 days you are able to recover the environment. Now how to recover that? So go to the environments. Within the environments, there is an option here called what? Recently deleted environments. And I go to this recently deleted environments, you are able to see here two environments is there. Just now, today, we deleted one environment, that is dev environment. So I want to recover this. The status is deleted. So if I want to recover, go to these three ellipses and click on what? Recover. When I recover, now automatically it will go to where? I'm going to recover this environment and I'm able to see that environment here in the environments. So this is what, how to go and delete the environment. Once if you delete the environment, how to recover that environment within 7 days. Go to this recycle bin and go to this three ellipses and go and click on what? Recover. So it will automatically get back into that Power Apps again. And next, one more you need to go and discuss here. That is connectors case. I said that there are two types of connectors are available. So what the two types of connectors are available is standard connectors and premium connectors. So first of all, try to understand what are connectors case. Connectors are used to connect to what? Data sources from the Power Apps. From the Power Apps, if I want to go and connect to the data sources, let me go and open any app guys. Let me go and open any app. Now from the Power Apps, if I want to connect to the data sources, what's my data source? I'm taking SharePoint. If I want to connect to the SharePoint, you need to have what? Connectors. So these Power Apps can connect to almost all the data, all the connectors guys. Let me show you what are the different types of connectors is there. Now see, once if you open any app, if you go to the data, if you go to add data, you are able to see something here called what? Connectors. When I go and click on these connectors, now scroll down, go and click on see all connectors guys. When I click on the see all connectors, now see, these are all the connectors. How many? I said that how many connectors the Power Apps can connect? Not to around 600 connectors it can connect. So all these are the connectors guys. Now see, if you have this diamond mark, it is a premium connector. If there is no diamond, then it is a standard connector. Now see, this is the standard connector. This is the standard connector. Let me take SharePoint. We are using the SharePoint, right? SharePoint is what? SharePoint is a standard connector. Now there is no diamond icon here. So if you have the diamond icon, it is a premium license, premium connector. If you want to connect to this data source, you need to have which license? Premium licenses. So mandatorily, if you want to connect to the premium connectors, you need to have one license, guys. Without having any license, if you want to work with the Power Apps, you need to go and use what data sources? Standard data sources. Standard data source, here we are not able to see the diamond icon, but wherever you are able to see the diamond icon, those are called as premium connectors. So these are the two types of connectors we have. So what is meant by connector means connectors are used to connect to the data sources. Power Apps can connect to almost all the data sources. Types of connectors. One is standard connector, second is what? Premium connector. To connect to the standard connectors, we need to have any license means? No need to have any license. To connect to the premium connectors, we need to have any one of the licenses. To connect to the premium connectors, we need to have any one license. What type of license? Either you need to have the per app plan, per user plan, or pay as you go. Any one of these license you need to have. To connect which connectors? Premium connectors. So this is what is meant by connector. What are the different types of connectors we'll have in the Power Apps. Fine. Let me go and stop here today. This is all about what are the different types of Power Apps licenses we'll have and what is meant by environment, when to go and use the environments, what the environments contains, what is the need of creating the environments, and what are the different types of environments, and also something we discussed here called unmanaged and managed environments. And also we discussed about how to add the users to the environment. While adding, what's the role you want to give them, admin role or maker role, and how to recover the environment once the environment is deleted, how to go to recover that. Next we discussed about what is meant by connectors and also the types of connectors. In the next class we'll go and discuss about something called solutions. The next class I'll discuss about what? Solutions. Fine, let me stop here.